We now open our second play for the evening. Yes, that's right, 2 for the price of 1. And this is King Henry VI, Part 3. Enter the Duke of York, now seated on the throne of England after the battle you just saw, along with his sons, Edward, the eldest, Richard, the crookback, George, and Rutland, along with Warwick, the Kingmaker. And lest we not forget those soldiers hiding in ambush. They're ready for, you guessed it, an ambush. And now, we turn to the Kingmaker.
I'll Plantagenet, root him up who dares. Resolvely, Richard, claim the English crown.
Enter King Henry VI, young Clifford, Oxford, and their Howard.
Look, lords, where the sturdy rebel sits, even in the chair of state. Belike he means, backed by the power of Warwick, that false peer, to aspire unto the crown and reign thyself. Thou factious Duke of York, descend to my throne and kneel for grace and mercy at my feet. I am thy sovereign.
I am thine.
For shame, come down. He made thee Duke of York.
'Twas my inheritance as the earldom was.
Thy father was a traitor to the crown.
Oxford, thou art a traitor in following this usurping Henry.
Whom should he follow but his natural king?
That's true, Clifford, and that's Richard, Duke of York.
And what, shall I stand and thou sit in my throne?
It must and shall be so. Content thyself. Be Duke of Lancaster, let him be king. For you, we show our title to the crown. If not, our soldiers shall complete it in the field.
What title hast thou, traitor to the crown? Thy father was, as thou art, Duke of York. I am the son of Henry V, who made the Dauphin and the French to stoop and seized upon their towns and provinces.
Talk not of France, since thou hast lost it all.
My Lord Protector lost it, and 'twas not I. When I was crowned, I was but 9 months old.
You are old enough now, and yet methinks you lose. Father, tear the crown from the usurper's head.
Sweet father, do so. Set it on your head.
Richard II, in the view of many lords, resigned the crown to Henry IV, whose heir my father was, and I am his.
He rose against him being his sovereign, and made him to resign his crown perforce. Suppose you, my lords, that he did it unconstrained. Think you were prejudicial to the crown?
My conscience tells me he is lawful king.
All will revolt from me and turn to him.
Deposed he shall be, in despite of all.
King Henry, be thy title right or wrong, Lord Clifford vows to fight in thy defense. May that ground gape and swallow me alive, where I shall kneel to him that slew my father.
Oh, Clifford, how thy words revive my heart.
Henry of Lancaster, resign thy crown. What wanted you? What conspire you, lords? Do right unto this princely Duke of York, or I will fill this house with armed men, and over the chair of state where now he sits, write up his title in usurping blood.
My lord, good Warwick, hear me but one word. Let me in this lifetime reign as king.
Confirm the crown to me and to mine heirs, and thou shalt reign in quiet while thou livest.
I am content. Richard Plantagenet, enjoy the kingdom after my decease.
Henry has made a deal to give the crown over to the Duke of York's eldest son, Edward, after he dies. In the process, he will disinherit his own son, inconveniently also named Edward, whom we have yet to meet yet and was born in between the two plays during intermission. And now, we see that his nobles are not pleased with his plan to disinherit his son, and they plan to report this to Queen Margaret.
What wrong is this unto the prince your son?
What good is this to England and himself?
Face fearful and despairing, Henry.
How hast thou injured both thyself and us? I cannot stay to hear these articles.
Turn this way, Henry, regard them not. What should he sigh, my lord?
Not for myself, but for my son whom I shall unnaturally disinherit. But be it as it may, I here entail the crown to thee and to thine heirs forever. Conditionally, that here thou takest an oath to seize this civil war, and whilst I live to honor me as thy king and sovereign, nor by hostility nor treason to seek to put me down and break thyself.
This oath I willingly take and will perform. Long live King Henry! Plantagenet, embrace him.
Long live thou and these thy forward sons.
Now York and Lancaster are reconciled.
Not for long!
Here comes the queen, whose looks bewray her anger. I'll slip away.
Oxford, so will I.
Nay, go not from me, for I will follow thee.
Be patient, gentle queen, and I will stay.
Who can be patient in such extremes? Ah, wretched man! Would I had died a maid and never seen thee, never born thee son! Seeing thou hast proved so unnatural a father, hath he deserved to lose his birthright thus?
Father, you cannot disinherit me. If you be king, why should I not succeed?
Pardon me, Margaret, pardon me, sweet son, but the Earl of Warwick and the Duke enforced me.
Enforce thee! Art thou king and wilt be forced? I shame to hear thee speak. Ah, timorous wretch! Thou hast undone thyself, thy son and me, and given unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign but by their sufferance. Had I been there, which am a silly woman, the soldiers would have tossed me on their pikes before I would have granted to that act. But thou preferest thy life before thine honor. Thus do I leave thee. Come, son, away. Our army is ready. Come, we'll after them.
Gentle queen, hear me but speak.
You have spoke too much already. Get thee gone.
Gentle son, will thou stay with me?
Aye, to be murdered by his enemies.
When I return with victory from the field, I'll see your grace. Until then, I'll follow her.
Revenged may she be on that hateful duke, whose haughty spirit, winged with desire, will cost my crown, and like an empty eagle tire on the flesh of me and of my son.
Scene 2. Sandal Castle. The Yorks are also disappointed with their leaders, Barney.
Brother, though I be youngest, give me leave.
No, I can better play the orator.
What? How now, sons? At a strife? What is your quarrel? I'll begin first.
No quarrel, but a slight contention.
About what?
About that of which concerns your grace and us. The crown of England, Father, which is yours.
Mine, boy, not till Henry be dead.
Your right depends not on his life or death. Now you are heir, therefore enjoy it now. By giving the house of Lancaster leave to breathe, it will outrun you, Father, in the end.
I took an oath that he should quietly reign.
And now Edward of York shares his motto.
But for a kingdom, any oath may be broken. I would break 1,000 oaths to reign 1 year. No. God forbid your grace should be forsworn.
I shall be if I claim by open war.
I'll prove the contrary if you'll hear me speak.
Thou canst not, son. It is impossible.
An oath is of no moment, not being took before a true and lawful magistrate that have authority over him that swears. Henry had none, but did usurp the place. Therefore to arms, I cannot rest until the white rose that I wear be dyed, even in the new warm blood of Henry's heart.
Richard, enough! and wet on Warwick to this enterprise.
It's the time of night when Troy was set on fire.
But you are probably thinking that's not what they heard. And you are right. They heard something different. They heard that the queen, with all of the northern earls and the lords, intends to besiege York, here in York.
I, with my sword. What? Thinkest thou we fear them? With only 5,000 men?
Aye, with 500, father, for a need. A women's general, what should we fear?
A march is heard far off.
Here's our troops. Let us set our men in order and issue them forth and bid them battle straight.
5 men to 20. Though the odds be great, I doubt not, my sons, of our victory.
Oh, the old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and marched them down again.
And now, the battle! The queen's army seem brave! Get saddle, tassel, and wing! Enter Rutland, the youngest son of York, and Clifford!
As for the brat of this accursed duke, whose father slew my father, he shall die!
Clifford, hear me speak before I die. I am too mean a subject for thy wrath. Be thou avenged on men, and let me live.
Had thy brethren here, their lives and thine were not revenge sufficient for me. No. If I dug up thy forefathers' graves and hung their rotten coffins up in chains, it could not slake mine ire, nor ease my heart. The sight of any of the house of York is as a fury to torment my soul. And until I root out their accursed line and leave not one left alive, I live in hell. Therefore,
I never did thee harm. Why wilt thou slay me?
thy father hath.
'Twas ere I was born.
Thy father slew my father, and therefore die.
Stabs him. The youngest son of York dies.
Plantagenet! I come Plantagenet!
And to the Duke of York, pursued by Margaret and her The Duke is injured.
The army of the queen hath got the field. My uncles both are slain in rescuing me. My sons, God knows what hath bechanced them.
A cheer for the Lancastrian.
Oh, hark! The fatal followers do pursue, and I am faint and cannot fly the fury. The sands are numbered that make up my life. Here must I stay, and here my life must end.
I, to such mercy as with downright payment was showed unto my father.
My ashes, as the phoenix, shall bring forth a bird that will revenge upon you all. And in my hope I throw mine eyes to the heavens, scorning whatever you shall afflict me with.
So cowards do fight when they can fly no further. So don't you peck the falcon's piercing talons. I will not bandy with thee word for word, but buckle with thee blows.
Clifford raises his sword.
Behold, valiant Clifford, for 1,000 causes I would prolong a while the traitor's life. Wrath makes him deaf.
And what would your grace have done unto him now?
Brave warriors, Clifford, and now the rest. Come, make him stand upon this mold here. blades point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this, to dry thy cheeks withal. And prithee, grieve to make me merry, York.
He bats away the cloth, stained in his son's blood.
What? Hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Stand, rave, and fret that I may sing and dance. York cannot speak unless he wears a crown. A crown for York, and the lords bow low to him. Hold you his hands whilst I will set it on.
Putting a paper crown on his head.
Aye, marry, sir. Now looks he like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head. And whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead.
Clifford raises his sword.
That is my office, for my father's sake.
Nay, steady. Let's hear the orisons he makes.
She-wolf of France, the worst of wolves of France. How ill beseeming is it in thy sex to triumph like an Amazonian troll upon their woes whom fortune captivates. How thy face is vizard-like, unyielding, made impudent by use of evil deeds. I would essay, proud queen, to make thee blush, to tell thee whence thou camest, of whom derived. Wert shame enough to shame thee, wert thou not shameless. Thy father bears the type of King of Naples, of both Sicile and Jerusalem, yet not so wealthy as an English Yale.
Queen Margaret hands York the cloth again.
My sweet boy, and I will tears to wash the blood away. Tiger's heart, wrapped in a woman's hide. Here, take the crown, and with the crown my curse. Hard-hearted Clifford, take me from the world, my soul to heaven, my blood upon your heads.
Here's for my vow! Here's for my mother's death!
And here's to right our gentle-hearted king.
Stabbing me.
Open thy gates of mercy, gracious God. My soul, please these wounds to seek out.
The Duke of York dies. He drops a white rose.
King yet lives that Henry shall depose. But here thou to live and die a violent death.
Off with his head, and set it on York gates, so that York may overlook the town of York.
A march. Enter the sons of the Duke of York, Edward, Richard, and their pal.
I wonder how our princely father escaped. How fares my brother? Why is he so sad?
I cannot joy until I be resolved where our right and thine fathers become. See how the morning opes her golden gates and takes her farewell of the glorious sun.
At this moment, on this exact day in history, the sun split into 3 parts for real, creating an actual real thing called a parhelion.
Dazzle mine eyes, or do I see 3 suns?
3 glorious suns, each one a perfect sun, not separated with the racking clouds, but severed in a pale, clear, shining sky. See, they join, embrace, and seem to kiss, as if they vowed some league inviolable. Now, they are but one lamp, one light, one sun. In this, the heaven figures something unbelievable.
'Tis wondrous strange, the like yet never seen before. I think it cites us, brother, to the field, that we, the sons of brave Plantagenets, each one already blazing by our meads, should notwithstanding join our lights together and overshine the earth as this the world. Whene'er it goes, henceforth will I bear upon my target 3 fair shining suns.
The sons of York realized what news this messenger, perfectly normal messenger, must bring.
Environed he was with many foes, and stood against them as the hope of Troy, against the Greeks that would have entered Troy. Oh, but Hercules himself must yield to odds, and many strokes, though with a little axe, hew down and fell the hardest timbered oak. They took his head, and there it doth remain upon the gates of York, the saddest spectacle that e'er I viewed.
Speak no more, for I've heard too much.
Nay, say how he died, for I shall hear it all.
Sweet Duke of York, our prop to lean upon. Now thou art gone, we have no staff, no stay.
Do not weep, for all my body's moisture ceases to serve and quench my furnace burning hot.
His name that valiant Duke hath left with thee, his dukedom and share with me is left.
Nay, if thou be that princely eagle's bird, set thy gaze against the sun. For chair, throne, dukedom, and kingdom's sake, either that is thine, or else thou wert not he.
Warwick arrives, and he is already aware of this tragic news.
10 days ago I drowned my views in tears, and now to add more measure to your woes, I come to tell you things since then befallen. Lord George, your brother, Norfolk, and myself, in haste, post-haste, are come to join with you. For here in the trenches we heard you were making another head to fight again. For thou shalt know, the strong right hand of mine can pluck the diadem from faint Henry's head, and wring the awful scepter from his fist. To London will we march amain, and never again turn back and fly.
Lord Warwick, on thy shoulder will I lean.
No longer Earl of March, but Duke of York. The next degree is England's royal throne, for King of England shalt thou be proclaimed.
Act 2, Scene 2. Before the gates of York, enter King Henry VI. Along with Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, Clifford, Oxford, and their power.
Welcome, my lord, to this brave town of York. Yonder's the head of that arch enemy that sought to be encompassed with your crown. Doth not the object cheer your hearts, my lord?
Aye, as the rocks cheer them that fear their wrecks. To see this sighted irks my very soul. Oh, withhold revenge, dear God. 'Tis not my fault, nor wittingly have I infringed my vow.
My gracious liege, this too much lenity and harmful pity must be laid aside. To whom do lions cast their gentle looks? Look on the boy, and let his manly face, which promiseth successful fortune, steel thy melting heart to hold thine own and leave thine own with him.
Well, Clifford played the orator, inferring arguments of mighty force. Tell me, Clifford, did thou never hear that things O God ever had had success? Oh, cousin York, would thy best friends know how it doth grieve me to see thy head here?
My lord, cheer up your spirits. Our foes are nigh, and this soft courage makes your followers faint. You promised knighthood to our forward son. Unsheathe your sword and dub him presently. Edward, kneel down.
Edward Plantagenet, rise a knight. Learn this lesson, draw thy sword from right.
My gracious father, by your kingly leave, I'll draw it as a parent to the crown, and in that quarrel, use it to the death.
Why, that is spoken like a toward, Prince.
News from a messenger! During the War of the Roses, one can never bask in victory for long.
My father, cheer these noble lords, and hire those that fight in your defense. Unsheath your sword, good father, cry, St. George!
Now, perjured Henry, wilt thou kneel for grace and set the diadem upon my head, or bide the mortal fortune of the fields?
Go, raise thy minions, proud, insulting boy. Becomes it thee to be thus bold in terms before thy sovereign and thy lawful king?
I am his king, and he should bow his knee.
I am a king and privileged to speak.
My liege, the wound that bred this meeting here cannot be cured by words. Therefore, be still.
By him that made us all, I resolve that Clifford's manhood lies upon his tongue.
But thou art neither like thy sire nor dad, but like a foul, misshapen stigmatic, marked by the destinies to be avoided, like venom toads or lizards' dreadful stings.
The insults continue for some time, but suffice it to say, it only gets worse from here.
Sound trumpets, let our bloody colors wave, and either victory or else a grave.
Stay, Edward!
No rankless woman will no longer stay. These words will cost 10,000 lives this day.
Shall we fly?
Ruthless is flight, they follow us with wings.
Ah, Warwick, why hast thou withdrawn thyself? Thy brother's blood the thirsty earth hath drunk.
Then let the earth be drunken with our blood. Why stand we here and look upon as if the tragedy were played in jest by counterfeiting actors? On my knee I vow to God above, I'll never again pause, never stand still, till either death hath closed these eyes of mine, or fortune given me measure of revenge.
Oh, Warwick, I do bend my knee with thine.
Brother, lend me thy hand. And Warwick, let me embrace thee in my weary arms.
Yet let us together to our troops, create a sum of life and victory.
I have singled thee alone. Save this arm be for the Duke of York, and this for Rutland.
This is the hand that slew thy brother Rutland, and this the hand that stabbed thy father York. And here's the heart that triumphs in their death. And so, have at me!
Seek out some other chase, for I myself will hunt this dog to death.
On another part of the battlefield, King Henry finds an opening
the shepherd blowing off his nails can neither call it perfect day nor night. Now sways it this way, like a mighty sea, forced by the tide to combat with the wind. Now sways it that way, like the selfsame sea, forced to retire by fury of the wind. Sometimes the flood prevails, then the wind. Now one the better than another best. Both tugging to be victors, breast to breast, in neither conqueror nor conqueror. So is the equal of this fell war. Here on this small hill will I sit me down. For whom God will, there be the victory. For Margaret, my queen, and Clifford too have tried me both from battle, swearing both they prosper best of all when I am thence. Methinks it were a happy life, to be no more than a homely swain, to sit on a hill as I do now, to carve out dials quaintly, point by point, thereby to see the minutes how they run. How many years a mortal man may live. When this is known, then to divide the time. So many hours must I tend my flock. So many days my youth have been with young. So many years ere I shall shear the fleece. So minutes, hours, days, months, and years, passed over unto the end they were created, would bring white hairs into a quiet grave. What a life it is! How sweet! How lovely! Does not the hawthorn bush provide such sweeter shade to the shepherds looking on to their silly sheep than doth the rich embroidered canopy to kings that fear their subjects' treachery? Oh, yes, it doth, 1,000 times.
Enter a wounded and dying soldier!
The red rose and the white are on his face, the fatal colors of our striving houses. The one his purple blood right well resembles, the other his pale cheeks methinks presented. Wither one rose, let the other flourish. If I must contend 1,000 lives must wither. Sad-hearted men, much overgone with care. Here stands a king more woeful than you are.
Lancastrians are vanquished, and now York will take the throne.
Here burns my candle out. Aye, here it dies, which, whilst it lasted, gave King Henry light. Oh, Lancaster! I fear thy overthrow, more than my body's parting with my soul.
Whose soul is that who takes her your heavy leave?
A deadly growth. Life and death party.
See who it is, and now the battle's ended, whether friend or foe, let him be gently used.
Revoke thy doom of mercy, for 'tis Clifford.
Aye, but he's dead. Off with the traitor's hang, and reared in the place your father stands.
But the Kingmaker is already several steps ahead of the whole head thing. He has already prepared a royal match for the soon-to-be, right there, King Edward IV of England, the first king of the House of York. He has an idea that the King Edward can marry the King of France's sister and then firm up a strong ally.
When shall Warwick come to see to France and ask the Lady Bonner for thy queen? Then to Brittany I'll cross the sea to effect this marriage. So please it my lord.
Even as thou wilt, sweet Warwick, for in thy shoulder do I build my seat, and never will I undertake the thing wherein thy counsel or consent is wanting. Richard, I will create thee Duke of Gloucester, George of Clarence. Warwick as ourselves shall do and undo as him pleaseth best.
Let me be Duke of Clarence and George of Gloucester. Gloucester's dukedom is too ominous.
That's a foolish observation. Richard, be Duke of Gloucester. Now to London to see these honors in possession.
Act 3. Scene 1. A forest in the north of England. The recently deposed former King Henry VI wanders lost after the battle with his trusty prayer book.
Even from Scotland am I stolen from pure love, to greet my own land with my wishful sight. No, Harry, 'tis no land of thine. For Margaret, your queen and son have gone to France for aid, and as I hear, the great commanding Warwick is thither gone to crave the French king's sister to wife for Edward. If this news be true, poor queen and son, your labor is but lost.
To make things worse from here, as you can see, Henry is now spotted and picked up and captured by some of the newly found King Edward IV's men. Oh no! Scene 2. London. Back in the palace. Time for a new king. Enter King Edward IV and the new Duke of Gloucester, formerly Richard the Crookback, and the Duke of Clarence, formerly George, and Lady Grey.
Brother of Gloucester, at St. Albans Field, this lady's husband, Sir Richard Grey, was slain, her lands then seized on by the conqueror. Her suit is now to repossess these lands, which we in justice cannot well deny, seeing as in quarrel with the House of York did the worthy gentleman lose his life.
Now, as you can see, the new king has his eye on a potential queen. However, this is not the political match that he was supposed to take, as Warwick travels to France so that he can make all of his kingmaker machinations. This inexperienced monarch makes his own plans.
Your Gracious, you well wrapped her suit before the start of your night.
It were no less, but yet I'll make a pause. Widow, we will consider of your suit, and come some other time to know our mind.
Right gracious lord, I cannot brook delay.
How many children hast thou, widow? Tell me.
3, my most gracious lord.
'Twere pity they should lose their father's lands.
Be pitiful, dread lord, and grant it then.
Lords, give us leave. I'll try this widow's wit. Now tell me, madam, do you love your children?
Now, King Edward IV proceeds to woo Lady Grey for some time, and as you see, the only thing he has going for him is that he's the king.
An easy task, 'tis but to love a king.
That's soon performed, because I am subject.
Why then thy husband's lands I freely give thee.
I take my leave with many thousand thanks.
But stay thee! 'Tis the fruits of love I mean.
The fruits of love I mean, my loving liege.
Aye, but I fear me in another sense. What love thinkst thou I sue so much to get?
My love till death, my humble thanks, my prayers. That love which virtue begs and virtue grants.
No, by my troth, I do not mean such love.
Oh, now Richard of Gloucester shares his opinion.
The widow likes him not. She knits her brows.
He is the bluntest wooer in Christendom.
Yes, indeed. And King Edward IV continues wooing Lady Grey for some time, and eventually she relents and marries him and becomes his queen consort, as you see. But then a message arrives for the king. But this one is good. And it is his predecessor has been found wandering in the north of England.
See that he be conveyed into the tower, and go we, brothers, to the man that took him to question of his apprehension. My queen, go you alone.
However, his brother, Richard, the new Duke of Gloucester, the crookback, has made his own plans.
Aye, Edward will use women honorably. Whether he were wasted, marrow, bones, and all, that from his loins no hopeful branch may spring, to cross me from the golden time I look for. And yet, between my soul's desires and me, the lustful Edward's title bearer is Clarence, Henry, and his son, young Edward, to take their rooms ere I can place myself. A cold premeditation for my purpose. Why then, I do but dream on sovereignty, like one that stands upon a promontory, wishing that his foot were equal to that of his eye. Why then do I wish the crown being so far off? For many lives stand between me and home, and I, like one lost in a thorny wood, that rends the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, torment myself to catch the English crown. And from that torment, I will free myself, or hew my way out with a bloody axe! I can smile and murder whilst I smile, and cry content and that must grieve my heart, wet my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions. I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall. I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like a Cylon, take another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon. Can I do this and cannot get a crown? Or it further off, I'll pluck it down.
Oh, what a creep! Act 3, Scene 3, France. Margaret has returned home to ask for help after her husband, King Henry VI, was deposed, and all is going well. But that was until Warwick showed up, the kingmaker. And he has this plan to marry King Edward IV to Louis XI's sister. Warwick does well, bests Queen Margaret, and secures that marriage for Edward.
Well,
That is until some words, some notes in the message, there it is, arrives. And we learn that Edward has already married Lady Grey. Oops. This infuriating betrayal leads Warwick the Kingmaker to leave the House of York and join with Lancaster.
Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long.
And now, with a new plan, he makes a league with Margaret and secures some French troops. Act 4, Scene 1, London, the Palace. Now enter the Dukes of Gloucester, Crookback, and Clarence, and Stafford.
Now, Clarence, what thinkest thou of this new marriage between Lady Grey and our brother? Hath he not made a worthy choice?
Alas, 'tis far from hence to France. How could he stay till Warwick made his return?
My lords, forbear this talk. The king is coming.
And his well-chosen bride.
I might tell him plainly what I think.
Now, brother Clarence, how like your choice that you stand pensive as half malcontent?
As well as Louis of France, or the Earl of Warwick, who stands so weak of courage and in judgment that they'll take no offense at our views.
Suppose they take offense without a cause. They are but Louis and Warwick. I am Edward, your king and Warwick's, and must have my will.
And shall, because our king, yet hasty marriage shall have proven well.
Brother Richard, are you offended too?
Not I, no. Why should I be offended of those who God hath joined together?
Setting your scorn and your mislike aside, name some reason why the Lady Grey should not become my wife and England's queen.
The Mrs. Minor, that King Louis becomes your enemy for mocking him about the marriage of the Lady Bonner. In choosing for yourself, you show your judgment, which, being shallow, gives me leave to play the broker in my own behalf. And to that end, I surely like to leave you.
Leave me, or tarry. Edward shall be king and not be tied into his brother's will.
My lords, before it pleased his majesty to raise my estate to title of queen, do me but right, we must all confess that I was not ignoble of descent, and meaner than myself had like fortune. But as this title honors me and mine, so your dislike to whom I would be pleasing doth cloud my choice with danger and with sorrow.
My love, forbear to fawn upon their crowns. What danger or what sorrow can befall thee so long as Edward is thy constant friend, and their true sovereign whom they must obey, nay, whom they shall obey, unless they seek for hatred at my hands. And if they do, yet will I keep thee safe, and they shall feel the vengeance of my wrath.
News back from France.
Time of night to enjoy the set on fire.
Is Louis so bold? Will I he thinks me Henry? Well, I will arm myself, being thus forewarned. They shall have wars and pay for their presumption. But say, is Warwick friends with Margaret?
Now, Edward's brother Clarence has had enough. He announces that he will join Warwick and follow Henry VI once again. He encourages others to follow him. It looks like being the king is harder than it seems.
You that love me and Warwick, follow me.
Not I. For my thoughts aim at a further matter. I stay not for the love of Edward, but the crown.
Clarence and Stafford both gone to Warwick. Yet I am armed against the worst can happen, and haste is needful in this desperate case.
Now, Edward orders his men again to prepare for war. Margaret and her army march toward them, and revenge is their primary objective.
Brother Richard, will you stand by us?
Aye, and all despite the shall stand you.
Why so? Then I am sure of victory. Now let us forward hence and lose no hour till we meet Warwick with this foreign power.
A plain in Warwickshire. soldiers. Now Warwick notes to his troops how the common people are now on their side, and now he welcomes Clarence and Stafford and all the rest. And now, together, they plan a surprise attack to capture Edward, foolishly camping in a tent. Yes, this is real.
And now a desperate night's coverture. My brother, King Edward, being carelessly encamped, his soldiers lurking in the towns about them, but attended by civil guard, that we may take him out of pleasure and surprise him. I mean not to slaughter him, but I intend only to surprise him. Or Warwick and his friends gone in St. George.
Edward's camp. Near Warwickshire, enter 3 watchmen to guard said tent.
Come, my masters. Each man take his stand, for by this the king has laid himself down to sleep.
What? Will he not to bed?
Why, no! He had made a solemn vow never to take his natural rest till he or Warwick be quite suppressed.
Then tomorrow belike shall be the day, if Warwick be so near as men report.
Oh, is it so? But why demand the king that his chief followers lodge in the county ground, while he himself keeps in a cold field?
Because more honor due to more danger.
Aye, but give me worship and quietness. I like it better than a dangerous honor.
Aye, but wherefore else regard we his royal attempt from deadly night foes?
See, there's his tent, and there stands his guard. Courage, my masters, honor now or never. But follow me, and Edward shall be ours. Richard, let him go.
Here is
The Duke.
the Duke. Warwick, when we parted, thou didst call me king.
Aye, but now the king is altered. When you disgraced me and my embassy, I degraded you from being king, and come here now to create you Duke of York. Alas, how can you hope to govern any kingdom that knows not how to use ambassadors, or to content myself with one wife, or how to use your brother's brotherly, or how to study for the people's welfare, or how to shroud yourself from enemies?
Brother Clarence, are you here too? Nay, then I see that Edward needs must down.
But now shall Henry wear the crown, be true king indeed, thou but the shadow. My lord of Somerset, at my request, see forthwith that Duke Edward be conveyed to my brother, Archbishop of York. Now, for a while, farewell, good Duke of York.
What fates impose, that men must needs abide, it boots not to resist both wind and tide.
Now, to free King Henry from imprisonment, and seem seated on the English throne.
At 4 Seymour, in London, the palace, Queen Elizabeth, now pregnant with Edward's heir, hears of her husband's capture, and now she and her attendants hastily flee London.
Now fair hope must hinder life's decay. I, the rather, wean me from despair, for love of Edward's offspring in my womb.
And madam, where is your pen to come?
I have informed he comes toward London, set the crown once more on Henry's head, for trust on him that had once broken faith. I'll henceforth with him to the sanctuary, to save at least the heir of Edward's right. Come therefore, let us fly while we may fly. If Warwick take us, we are sure to die.
Act 4, Scene 6, London. Enter King Henry VI.
Now, Warwick, after God thou setst me free, and chiefly therefore I thank God and thee. He was the author, and thou the instrument. And therefore, that I may conquer fortune's spite by living low where fortune cannot hurt me. And the people of this blessed land may not be punished with my fortune stars. Warwick, although my head still wear the crown, I here resign my government to thee, for thou art fortunate in all thy deeds.
Your grace hath been famed for virtuous, and still may seem as wise. as virtuous, or by spying and avoiding fortune's malice for few men friendly temper with the stars.
Warwick, Clarence, give me both your hands. Now join your hands, and with your hands, your hearts. I make you both protectors of this land, that no dissension hinder government, whilst I myself will lead a private life.
Clarence, now it is more than needful, forthwith that Edward be proclaimed a traitor, and all his lands and goods be confiscated.
Let me entreat, for I command no more, that Margaret, your queen, and my son be sent for to return from France with speed.
It shall be done, my sovereign, with all speed.
My lord of Somerset, what youth is that of whom you seem to have so tender care?
My liege, this is young Henry, Earl of Richmond.
Henry asks to see the young boy in Somerset's protection. This is Henry Tudor, the Earl of Richmond, a distant cousin of this King Henry, and a descendant of King Edward III.
Come hither, England's hope.
He lays his hands on his head.
Secret powers suggest but truth to my divining thoughts. This pretty lad will prove our country's bliss. His time to wield a scepter, and himself likely in time to bless a regal throne. Make much of him, my lords, for this is he must help you more than you are hurt by me.
Oh no, it's more news from York! What could this be? With the help of Richard of Gloucester the Crookback, the one-time King Edward IV has escaped.
My brother was too careless in his charge. Well, let us hence, my sovereign, and provide a salve for any shore that may betide.
And now the Duke of Somerset, aware that the House of York would stop at nothing to eliminate all of Henry VI's heirs, direct or indirect or not, takes young Henry Tudor into hiding. It may be important for later. Maybe for another play. We'll see. It's a tetralogy, actually. Act 4, Scene 8, London. Now free from that brief imprisonment we just heard of, Edward has reclaimed himself king and retaken the city of York. And now he advances towards London. Hearing this news, Warwick prepares to leave the capital city, leaving Henry unguarded, to raise a stronger army.
In Warwickshire I have true-hearted friends, not mutinous and peace befall in war. Those I will muster up, and so farewell, my sovereign.
Farewell, my Hector, and my Troy's true hope.
With side of truth, I kiss your highness's hand.
Roe-minded Clarence, thou art fortunate. Sweet Oxford, and loving Clarence, and all at once more a happy farewell.
Farewell, my sweet lords, to meet at Coventry.
Here at the palace I will rest a while. Methinks the power that Edward hath in field should not be able to encounter mine. Why should they love Edward more than me? When the lion fawns upon the lamb will never cease to follow him.
Alack, sir! Oh, please!
This guy again!
Seize into the shame-faced Henry, bear him hence, and once again proclaim us the King of England. Enter them into the tower, let him not speak. And lords, bend we our course to Coventry, where peremptory Warwick now remains.
And I've seen one outside of Coventry. Clarence now changes sides again. It's true, it's a very long scene, we cut it down for you. And Cliff flops back to his brother. And now, everyone, Warwick is without a key ally. Uh-oh. Enter Warwick, injured, pursued by King Edward!
Now, lie thou there. Die thou, die our fear.
Why ask I that? My mangled body shows my want of strength, my sick heart shows my blood, that I must yield my body to the earth, and in doing so, the conquest to my foe. For what is pomp, rule, reign, but earth and dust? Live how we can, yet die we must.
Wert thou as we are, the queen from France hath brought a puissant hour.
Fly, my lords, and save yourselves, for Warwick bids you all farewell to meet in heaven.
Warwick, the kingmaker, dies.
Thousand souls to death and deadly night. Away to meet the Queen's great power!
King Edward IV enters in triumph with Gloucester, Clarence, and the rest.
Thus far, our fortune keeps an upward course, and we are graced with wreaths of victory. But in the midst of this bright shining day, I spy a black, suspicious, threatening cloud that will encounter with our glorious sun.
The queen is valued 30,000 strong, and Somerset with Oxford fled to her. If she have time to breathe, be well assured her faction will be as full as strong as ours.
And as we march, our strength will be augmented in every county as we go along. Strike up the drum, cry courage, and away!
And now, under near Tewkesbury, enter Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, Somerset, Oxford, and soldiers on, as you can see, a boat.
Great lords, wise men there sit and wail their loss, but surely seek how to redress their harms. What, though the mast be now blown overboard, the cable broke, the holding anchor lost, and half our sailors swallowed in the flood? Yet lives our pilot still? Is meet that he should leave the helm, and like a fearful lad with cheerful eyes add water to the sea, and give more strength to that which hath too much? Whiles in his moans the ship splits on the rock, which industry and courage might have saved. Ah, what a shame, what a fault were this! Say Warwick was our anchor, what of that? Our slaughtered friends, the tackles, what of these? Why is not Oxford here another anchor, and Somerset another goodly mast? The friends of France, the shrouds and tacklings. And though unskillful, why not Ned and I for once allowed the skillful pilot's charge? We will not from the helm to sit and weep, but keep our course, though the rough winds say no, from shelves and rocks that threaten us with wreck. Why, courage then! What cannot be avoided for childish weakness to lament or fear?
Methinks a woman of this valiant spirit should, if the coward here speak these words, use his breath to magnanimity, and make him naked, loyal man at arms. I speak this not as doubting any here, for did I suspect what a fearful man, he should have leave to go away betimes, lest in our need he might infect another, and make him of like spirit himself. If any such be here, as God forbid, let him depart before we need his help.
Women and children of so high a courage, and warriors faint for perpetual shame. O brave young prince, thy famous grandfather doth live again in thee. Long mayest thou live to bear his image and renew his glory.
Word arrives that Edward is indeed at hand.
Ready for fight, therefore be resolute.
But no less, it is his policy to haste us fast and find us unprovided.
This cheers my heart to see her forward
be hewn up by the roots ere night. I need not add more fuel to your fire, for well I wot ye blaze to burn them out. Give signal to the fight, and to it, lords.
Lords, knights, and gentlemen, what I should say my tears gainsay. For every word I speak, you see I drink the water of mine eyes. Therefore, no more but this. Henry, your sovereign, is prisoner to the foe. His state usurped, his realm a slaughterhouse, his subjects slain, his statues cancelled, and his treasure spent. And yonder is the wolf that makes this spoil. You fight injustice, and in God's name, lords, be valiant and give signal to the fight.
Thus here, a series of tumultuous broils. For Oxford, away to Hames Castle straight. For Somerset, off with his guilty head. Go, bear them hence, I will not hear them speak.
For my part, I not trouble me with words, nor I, but stoop with patience to my fortune.
So part we sadly in this troublous world, to meet with joy in sweet Jerusalem.
His proclamation made that he who finds Edward shall have a high reward, and he his life.
Enter a soldier with Prince Edward, King Henry VI, only direct heir, captive.
It is. And lo, where youthful Edward comes.
Bring forth the gallant, let us hear him speak. What? Can so young a thorn begin to prick? Edward, what satisfaction canst thou make for bearing arms, stirring up thy subjects, and all the trouble thou hast turned me to?
Speak like a subject, proud ambitious York. Suppose thou art my father's wrath. Resign thy chair, and where I stand, kneel thou. Whilst I perform self-same words to thee, which traitor thou wouldst have me answer to.
That thy father had been so resolved.
That you still wore the petty, and ne'er have stolen a breach from Lancaster.
Let Aesop fable in the winter's night. His curse riddles sort not with this place.
By heaven, brat, I'll plague thee for that word.
Aye, thou wast born to be a plague to men.
For God's sake, take away this captain's skull.
Hey, take away the skull and crookback rather.
Peace, willful boy, or I will charm your tongue.
I'm truly glad thou art too malleable.
I know I do mean. You are all undutiful. Lascivious Edward, and thou perjure George, and thou mischievous Dick, I tell ye all, I am your better. Traitors as ye are, and thou usurps my father's right and mine.
Take that, the likeness of thy railer here.
Stab him.
Brawlest thou? Take that! And thy agony.
Stabs him. And there's perjury.
Stabs him.
Oh, kill me too!
Mary, it's down!
Richard, hold, for we have done too much.
Why should she live? To fill the world with words?
What, doth she swoon? Use means for her recovery.
Clarence, excuse me to the king, my brother. Travel hence to London on a serious matter. Ere you come there, be sure to hear some news.
What? What?
The tower. The tower!
Oh, Matt. Sweet Matt. Speak to my mother, Lord. Thou not speak. Traitors! Murderers! They that stabbed Caesar shed no blood at all! Did not avenge, nor were not worthy blame, if your children butchers. If you had, the thought of them would have stirred up remorse. But if you ever chance to have a child, look in his youth to have him so cut off as death that you have reared this sweet young prince.
Away, I say. I charge you bear her hence.
Nay, never bear me hence. Dispatch me here. Here sheathe thy sword. Award me my death. What? Will thou not? Then, Clarence, do it thou.
By heaven, I'll not be so teased.
Good Clarence, do. Sweet Clarence, do. Now do it.
Did thou not hear us be sure I would not?
Aye. But thou usest to forswear thyself. 'Twas sin before, but now 'tis charity. What? Wilt thou not? Where is that devil's butcher, hard-favored Richard? Richard, where art thou? Thou art not here. Petitioners for blood thou ne'er put'st back.
Away with her. Go, bear her hence perforce.
So come to you and yours as to this prince.
Where's Richard gone? To London, in a holy post. And, as I guess, to make a bloody supper in the tower.
He's sudden if the thing comes in his head. Now march we hence, dispatch the common sword with pay and thanks, and let's away to London to see our gentle queen how well she fares. By this, I hope she hath a son for me.
Act 5, Scene 6. London, the Tower. Enter the one-time King Henry VI. And Gloucester.
Good day, my lord. What? At your book so hard?
Aye, my good lord. My lord, should I say rather. 'Tis sin to flatter. Good was little better. Good Gloucester and good devil were alike. So the reckless shepherd flies from the wolf. So then the harmless sheep doth yield his fleece, and next his throat unto a butcher's knife. What scene of death had Roches now to act?
What a peevish fool was that of Crete. Had taught his son the office of a fowl, and yet, for all his ways, the fool still drowned.
Hi, Daedalus, my poor boy Icarus, thy father Minos that denied our course, the sun that seared the wings of my sweet boy, thy brother Edward, and thyself the sea, whose envious gulf did swallow up his life. Kill me with thy weapon, not with words, or my breath can better brook the dagger's point than can my ear that tragic history. But wherefore dost thou come? It's for my life.
Dost thou thinkest I'm an executioner?
Persecutor, I am sure thou art. Murdering innocents be executing, why then thou art an executioner.
Thy son I killed for his presumption.
Hast thou been first killed when first thou didst presume? Thou hast not lived to kill a son of mine. Thus I shall prophesy that many a thousand shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born, and I will shriek at thy birth in evil sight. Thou
I'll hear no more. Die, prophet, in thy speech. For this was I ordained amongst the rest.
And for much more slaughter after this. God forgive my sins and pardon thee.
King Henry VI
to seep into the ground, I thought it would have mounted down to hell with thee, and say I sent thee thither. Stabs him again. I that have neither love, pity, nor fear. Then, since the heavens have shaped my body so, let hell make crooked my mind to answer it. I have no brother. I am like no brother. And this word love, which graybeards call divine, because it in men like one another, and not in me. I am myself alone. Clarence! Beware, thou keepest me from the light. If I was sort of pitchy day for thee, my brother brought such prophecies that shall make Edward fearful of his life. And then, to purge his fear, I'll be thy death! King Henry and his son, the Prince, are gone. Clarence, thy turn is next. And then the rest, counting myself but bad till I be best. I'll throw thy body in another room, in triumph, Henry, in thy day of doom.
Repurchased in the blood of enemies. What valiant foemen like to autumn's corn have we mowed down in tops of all their pride. Thus have we swept suspicion from our seat and made a footstool of security. Come hither, Bess, and let me kiss my boy. Young Ned, for thee, thine uncles and myself have in our armors watched the winter's night, went all afoot in summer scalding heat so that thou might repossess the crown in peace. Clarence and Gloucester, love my lovely wife and kiss your princely nephew, brothers both.
The duty that I owe to your majesty I seal upon the lips of this sweet maid.
Thanks, noble Clarence, worthy brother, thanks.
Richard of Gloucester kisses his nephew.
Thus am I seated as my soul delights, having my country's peace and brother's loves.
What will your grace have done with Margaret, Rainier, her father, King of France? Hath hither that they sent for her ransom.
Away with her, waft her hence to France. And now, what rest would that we spend the time with stately triumphs, mirthful comic shows such as befits the pleasure of our court. Sound drums and trumpets, farewell, sour annoy, for here I hope begins our lasting joy.
Edward's joy will be fleeting. The white rose may have triumphed over the red, but many unanswered prophecies remain that York will destroy itself from within. Henry VI, Part 3 has ended, but the story continues. Let's have a quick glimpse from King Richard III, coming up in our season this fall. Act 1, Scene 1, London, a street. Enter Gloucester, soulless.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. And all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now our prows bound in victorious reefs, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front. And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I, that can curtail this fair proportion, cheating of feature by dissembling nature to this breeding world scarce half made up. My eye, in this weak, piping time of peace, have no time to pass away, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot play a lover, to entertain these farewell spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence in the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. Die, thoughts, down to my soul.
As Richard seizes the crown, not for the House of York, but rather for himself, at least one adversary remains unvanquished.
Thou foul wrinkled witch, what makest thou in my sight?
But repetition of what thou hast marred, that will I make before I let thee go.
Wert thou not banished on pain of death?
I was. But I do find more pain in banishment than death can yield me here by my abode. A husband and a son thou owest to me, and thou a kingdom all of you allegiance. The sorrow that I have by right is yours, and all the pleasures you usurp are mine.
My father's curses that he laid upon thee, when thou didst crown his warlike brows with paper, and with thy scorns drewest rivers from his eyes, and then, to dry them, gavest the clout of the duke, steeped in the faultless blood of pretty Rutland. His curses, denounced against thee, from bitterness of soul, have all fallen upon thee, and have plagued thy bloody deed.
Did York's dread curse prevail with heaven so much that Henry's death, my lovely Edward's death, their kingdom's loss, my woeful banishment, could all but answer for that peevish brat? Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then, give way, dull clouds, to my quick curses!
Done thy charm, foul wrinkle,
and leave out thee. Stay, dog, for thou shalt hear me. In heaven have any grievous plague in store exceeding those that I can wish upon thee. Oh, let them keep it till thy sins be ripe, and then hurl down their indignation on thee, the troubler of the poor world's peace. The worm of conscience still annul thy soul. Thou surrender of thy mother's heavy womb, thou loving issue of thy father's loins, thou rag of honor, thou detested Richard! I with my tears quench Troy that
Was not your beauty